Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to Words and Art. My name is Mary Wemple. I'm the creator and coordinator of the series. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight at the CAM. Thank you especially to Felice Cleveland for helping with setup. Thanks also to Michael Simmons for helping with our setup this evening. And also to our guest judge, John Milkerai. I couldn't be here this evening, but I have a message from him that I'll read later. All the works tonight were inspired by this exhibit, Christopher Knowles in a Word. So, are we ready to get started? Are we ready to get started? Great. Are all our cell phones turned off and stowed away? I hope so. So everyone welcome our first reader, Elena Petrova.
Good evening, everyone. My little poetic tribute to Christopher Knowles is called Messenger. Words are the derivative of spatial thinking. His typewriter inks gray, red, and green seas into Christmas trees, lists of top songs on the 2nd of July in 1967. Somebody to love, light my fire, Aretha. Motion, subway stations squishing from 86th to 42nd Street. Is Times Square a parallelogram pressed with time? Do alarm clocks on 7 continents make a matrix? C stands for Christopher and the speed of light. Squared is kinetic solfeggio, a spontaneous dance of precision that makes you sick and then healthy. Parsifal is Buddha. Robert Wilson is good. Critics are the thorn. Christopher removes from his food to run to deliver his message. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Next up, Neha Rajeev.
My name is Neha Rajeev, as you know, and I'm a 6th grader from GT Academy. I've written a poem called In a Few Words, inspired by this whole exhibit. I'm really honored to be here and also to be chosen for this amazing opportunity. And also, it's just really exciting to be here, and this is my first exhibit I ever went to, so that's also amazing. And this is my poem. Walking in between white walls of routine, where words were combined with reference to time. Clocks were ticking, sightseers were thinking of what this could mean, this brilliant scene. Movement and meaning, this artist was scheming, his own little place, made in his own pace. The small little sea forms the things you see, that now you regard with his moving art. Short repeating songs start to play along in these smooth white halls of eye-catching walls. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Next up is Alfa Maruja.
Hello there, my name is Alfa Maruja, or Alpha, and my piece is called In the Eye of the Beholder. I'm very thankful that I was given this generous opportunity, and yeah, I'm thankful for it. When I first began work on this project, I hoped to capture a simple photograph and earn extra credit in my English class. That was my single goal, to raise my grade in ELA. I expected nothing more and nothing less. Instead, I received something much more important. I received inspiration in the unlikeliest of places. You see, this museum was temporarily featuring much of a man named Christopher Knowles' art. Normally, the artist being featured wouldn't much matter to me. The most decisive and memorable factor would be the art itself. But this case was special, for Knowles had been diagnosed with autism when he was still very young. Once I learned this, everything changed. Only moments prior, I had been uninterested in the art, such as the recurring paintings of clocks hung on the wall and the recordings of Knowles speaking. Now I found it all marvelous. all covered in newspapers that recently confused me, was now a spectacle to behold. Just because they weren't grand or complex didn't mean they weren't beautiful. As I read more and more of his biography, I started to realize that he found art everywhere that he looked. There was art about presidential elections of years past, as well as letters to childhood friends. Mr. Knowles may have had autism, but he didn't let that get in his way in the slightest. In fact, much of the art, from the innocent birthday greetings of his youth that were less than a few feet away from me, to the recurring drawings of clocks all the way across the room, had been created in Knowles' childhood in order to cope with a world he saw differently than everybody else. Lots of words and themes were repeated to help Knowles memorize and understand them, which made them all the more meaningful and precious. His disability was not a crippling weakness. No, he wouldn't let it become one. He had been determined to become successful and happy in spite of it. I did not expect this of the artist, or any artist for that matter, not even with the vastest stretch of my imagination. The fact that this man had been autistic for most of his life and had still become famous and done what he loved astounded me. In fact, it still does. He found art in his everyday life, in the regular items around him, and his own daily routines, and he managed to make a living out of it. He had successfully turned his disability, one which many people let ruin their lives, into a profession. This exhibit has given art a new meaning in my eyes. What is and isn't art is drastically different to me than it was before I visited this museum. There is a lot of beauty in the world, and I thank Christopher Knowles and his creations for showing me that. His courage and perseverance not only changed the way I see art, but the way I see the world and the way that I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfa Maruja. Next up is Lori Nusendorf.
Okay, is this better? Okay, it's helpful to me that Simon's behind me. The poem begins with a nursery rhyme, Simple Simon, that I adapted to Apples, Peaches, Pears, and Plums, which is in one of the canvases. Also, Chris Knowles had a poem, Horse with No Name. It was based on a song, and it was published in the New Yorker in 1977. The Sundance Kid is beautiful. Sundance Simon met a pieman going to the cam. Said Kid Simon to the pieman, apples, peaches, pumpkin pie. Apples, peaches, pumpkin pie. In a word, how many? Said the pieman, Sundance Simon, show me first your penny. The penny spins upward, marking moments in an illusion, a theatrical stage created with news and advertisements, recycled pages of the New York Times. In a word, from Chris Knowles, from Yves Saint Laurent, and the gold standard in patient care, and from behind a bright green Lego window hanging from the ceiling, Robert Wilson calls out, flip again, Chris. Is it heads or tails? Heads, we bet, if it's hats. Big shapes in 3 cones, politically correct for aspiring magicians. 1 cone with colors reflecting the rainbow. And who sees the rainbow? The Sundance Kid. Who can draw a self-portrait? Who am I? Who is this? This is Chris, on a cone that's a spaceship. Its silver tip aimed straight for the stars and straight for his art in a theater production themed to the lyrics of I Got Rhythm. What's happening with the happenings at 4, 6 to 9? Hurry up, please. It's time. On yellow clocks and green clocks, kids' clocks with characters, Betty Boop with 2 bells near a fairy tale forest, the faces of clocks and words in the Times, Queen style by Gucci, sold with soft drinks and popcorn, Cokes at the movies in a theater setting where a giant hand is crossing her fingers, betting on art, a winning performance, and maybe a bucolic day in the country, so unlike Manhattan, where black and white cows can suggest a new painting for contemporary walls in a museum setting, newsprint with answers according to Simon, taking art back in time to a nursery rhyme, to a tale, who am I? Faces round as fresh pies, apples, peaches, pumpkin pie, apples, peaches, pumpkin pie, and round as a cone hat with circles of color, Sundance at their center, planets circling like words, repeated, repeated, when the Times has a horse show, repeated, repeated. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. Who is the rider? Ideas jumping the fence like a story in newsprint.
Thank you, Lori. Next up is Sandy Stromberg.
Is that about right? Yeah, okay. When I came for the exhibit and walked around, it's almost a barrage of words. And after I needed to sit down. And when I sat down, I was looking exactly at the exhibition behind you and the 4 different signs of alertness that we now know for hurricanes and terrorism and all kinds of things. But then I kind of watched interaction with people, and I began to realize that we react that way in our bodies as well when we come into certain situations, that there are severe, high alert, guarded, and low moments in interactions or just walking down the street toward a stranger. So that's the origin of my poem. Body alert, in a word. High alert, a man, a dark street, me, our paces measured lockstep. I reach down to fix my ankle strap, stumble, orange. Severe, his footsteps daunting, his whistle a minor key, haunting. I pull books closer to my chest. Red. Alert. An intersection of sidewalks, a jauntier, harmonious tune. I hesitate. Left, right, straight, yellow. Guarded. He turns left. I catch him from the corner of my eye, his hands pocketed, his gait lanky, blue. Low. I exhale, inhale, exhale, relax my arms, return pepper spray to my purse. Green.
Thank you, Sandy. Next up is Elizabeth Young.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Young, and my poem's called Little Things. Round, round, round go the hands of the clock, time passing, repeating. Over and over, the same things are done, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing extraordinary. Nothing to talk about, and no reason to gossip. There's nothing to write about, no reason to report. People get bored, people get restless, people want more. The list is endless. So then little things are noticed. Different trends, our daily routine, a newspaper's format, and politics. These come out when one decides to be unordinary, to be extraordinary, and look at the little things.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Next up is Calvin Lee.
Hi, my name is Calvin Lee. I go to Quail Valley Middle School. I went to the Contemporary Arts Museum of Houston and attended the Rice and Words and Arts Workshop. I had a chance to look at Christopher Knowles in a word exhibition. Christopher Knowles was born in New York in 1959. He was diagnosed with autism when he was young, but it did not stop his creativity. The exhibition displayed the artist's works like text, sound, paintings, and drawings. I liked his drawing of 2 cows that were drawn on a sheet of paper, one on the top and one at the bottom. Both of them were facing the right. Even though the 2 cows looked similar when I first looked at them, they were different when I looked at them closely. Their skin patterns were different. The cow on the top had a sharp and pointy nose, and the cow at the bottom had a curved neck. The one at the bottom had a fatter tail than the one on top. Also, one was looking straight and the other one was looking a little bit downwards. The drawing reminds me about my sister and I. Even though we have the same parents, sharing the same genes, and have same eye and hair color, we have many differences. Our look is different. We have different gender, age, and height. We have different favorite sports. I like to go swimming and my sister likes to do gymnastics. I like spicy food, but she hates it. I like meat and she likes vegetables. Even though we fight with each other, she is still my best friend, and I feel lucky of having a sister. I think that Christopher Knowles drew the picture to show his sister and himself. Even though they are from the same family, they have the same genes and have similar look. There are many differences between him and his sister. I think he misses his sister and he loves his sister. Thank you.
Our next reader is across the country, Jacoby Wayne, and she's going to be reading right here, right now, in Houston. So welcome, Jacoby Wayne.
Thank you. I can hear you great. Can you hear me? I can hear you. All right. Can you hear me in the back, Chuck? Great. Okay. Well, thank you so much to Mary, as always. Thank you to Cam. It's such a wonderful space, and thank you to the tech crew for making this possible. It's really a pleasure to be here. We've been in the midst of 27 hours straight of snow, so we're in a winter wonderland up here. This is Viewfinder, and Mary is always so generous to give me a tour of the exhibit via her phone. And this one was really quite incredible. It took a really long time. She went through so many details, and similar to Sandy, I kind of felt an onslaught in the end. And in one part of the exhibit, I found sort of a quiet space. And so this poem is about the quiet space, which is a series of the same church done in the typewriter art, but with different elements of the church highlighted. And Viewfinder, for those of you who are really young in the audience, we used to have a thing that was like a little, I can't even describe it. It was a little plastic thing, and you put a disc of different slides in it, and you clicked a clicker, and it brought you to a different scene and helped you enter a different world. So that's one reference of the title. And the second reference is the viewfinder is the square piece in a camera that narrows in the scene and allows you to see one particular vista. So this is Viewfinder. The sweat drips down the back of her neck as she mops it with her faded red and white bandana. The yellow dust has turned her face and arms into a ginger-colored hue, and it feels like she's in a 1930s movie. A fat fly sounds like a Messerschmitt Heavy, stalking the air to bump its laden, meaty bomb body payload into her sweaty bare arm, imprinting its germ of war into her dust. It's the only meat around until she spots a man squat rocking on the ground on the other side of the square, rocking, 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 obsessive and oblivious. Chaos shoots out his eyes, electric all the way across the square, as he works to contain the chaos as he counts grains of sand. He sees explosion of color in his head that sound like shards of glass scraping against each other, scraping inside his skull goblet, pieces of ice, cooling electric liquid chaos. She spots a dusty carpet of olive branch, drooping over the wall across the other side of the square. Its leaves like washed out green handkerchiefs, dropped by village girls with vacant, hollowed eyes, beckoning to the possibility of beauty. She finds a hidden opening in the wall, two walls reaching towards each other, creating a languorous fold, and enters the fold to find herself in a place that is not usually a sense of sanctuary for her. A simple church, the same color as the dust, the same color as she is, arises from the sand of a million countings. See, 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 it says. There is a pattern to me that makes me real. Without the chaos, I am not the calm. Without the broken glass, I have no windows. Without you, I am the square to the tempest inside the universe of his sand, ringing the beauty that never came in vain with the undoing of your sweat and dust.
And next up, we have Randall Nolte.
Thanks, Mary, and thanks, Felice, and thanks to the CAM. Save me a place. Spectrum. Autism spectrum. Spectrum. Color spectrum. Colored cutouts. Primary colors. Secondary colors. Writing spectrum. Poetry. Stories, scripts, the letter C. Radio spectrum, top 20 hits. Spectrum, intelligence spectrum, where is my place? Personality spectrum, do I have a place? Social spectrum, can I find my place? Gifted spectrum. Spectrum. Autism spectrum. Audio recording. Lego sculpture. Writing. Autism spectrum. Painting. Typewriter masterpiece. Autism spectrum. Theater in the round. Art spectrum. Spectrum, autism spectrum, gifted spectrum, one and the same. Spectrum, spectrum, save me a place on the autism spectrum. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall. Next up is Chloe Weber.
Okay, my name is Chloe, and yeah, this is my extra credit. Whatever, yeah, okay. Aren't we all the same? Hearts with different names. Time keeps moving, pictures keep talking. Repeating mistakes with all the keepsakes. Voice tapes recording, the camera's rewinding. Now what the city used to be, now you've got the key. 242 cobblestone streets of Manhattan, all the highways, what happened? Time is a mentor showing you the tour. Time is an enemy flashing identity. Memories await, love stands still, but you're not too late to stand on your hill.
Thank you, Chloe. Next is Jessica Fu.
So my name is Jessica Fu, and this is my poem titled The Void Between. They are out of reach, beyond this perception, observe. Words, covering the floor, their mind, everywhere. Blanketing the old newspapers lining the walls, trapped in time, captured between the rift of reality and fiction. Falling, the wind whispering into their ears. The words, they envelop them, surrounding them. They catch a glimpse of the light. The brightness is fire. It takes over, burning everything away. The fire of age, stealing away all. The memories kept, just a fraction of the ones forgotten. The ones forgotten now in ashes. Time steals away everything. The alarm clock's ticking away. Yet, everything lost is not everything. The words that once filled them, those phrases, those letters all typewritten, will not be erased. And despite that, it is trapped. A creation kept away in the glass museum displays, hidden away from bright eyes. Inside, where the air is stale and every day is monotonous and the same. Or, outside, where the color fades, the fire dims, and the sun sets. The black and white, or the brilliant hues. Forever monochrome, or just one moment of color. And between this rift are words, letters, over and over and over again. Nonetheless, still in the world of their own, a bubble of color within the grayscale TV screen. However, words, once again between the rift of fiction and reality. What is fiction? What is reality? A rainbow? A newspaper? The place where your heart rests, that is the truth.
Thank you, Jessica. Next up, one of my favorite poets, Chuck Wemple.
Good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing? Good? Thank you, Mary, for creating and sustaining Words and Art. Thank you for the entire CAM team for providing this awesome space, be part of this exhibit, and for the lighting that's very flattering and the sound that's also very flattering. Like some of the other people who have talked earlier tonight, I was a bit overwhelmed at first by all the different pieces and the variety of the work, and I finally found, much like Jacoby said, I finally found a piece or a spot where I could sit for a moment and let it come together. And for me, it was the video and audio of the opera on the other side of the wall, Einstein on the Beach, and that helped me kind of pull things together and collage this work. The night is a banded blue agate, collage in third person. The night is a banded blue agate. The night is blue, banded agate. B and Ed agate, B and Ed. B sings a three-note bird call. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ed sounds like he ate a foghorn. 4, 4, 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. B is brown, and Ed so white he's almost silver. The moon looks like a toenail clipping, the color of Ed's face. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. B and Ed love their voices. B and Ed love their voices so much they can't hear each other. 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Every now and then they touch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The man upstairs pollutes the street with his anger. The man upstairs never leaves his apartment. The man upstairs looks like a floating emerald window frame because he never leaves his apartment. He drinks Red Bull and has a chest filled with hard-edged envy. 4, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3. His typewriter punches holes in paper. His typewriter punches holes in paper because the man upstairs drinks Red Bull, has a chest filled with hard-edged envy, and pollutes the street with his anger. Pap, 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 pap. And then a quiet waiting before the hammer leaves a mark that can't be smoothed away, like a dent in paper, crater in the field, a summer of split bones at the shed behind the milk barn. Pap, 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 pap. A black and white cow says, "Hey, buddy, you want to buy a watch?" And the man says no. And another guy walks by, and the cow really needs the money because he wants to become a dog. So the cow asks, "Hey, you want to buy a watch?" And the man says no, which is okay because the cow doesn't have wrists or a jacket to display stolen watches. 4, 4, 4. But the cow really needs the money because he wants to become a dog. Fortunately, the cow is a good pickpocket. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. His tiny blue eyes are so happy. 4, 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 men prance across the rooftop like excited deer. One is bald. They wear brown pants and white shirts and look like excited deer if deer wore brown pants and white shirts. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now they are women with their hair pulled tight. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They bound about and rotate on one foot. 4, 4, 4. 4 flat-chested chickadees. Now men, now women. Now 2, now 4, now 8, now 4, 4, 4. B and Ed collide. A, B, A, B, A, B, C, 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 C. A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, C, 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 C. And part. 4, 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. The night is a banded blue agate. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. And our final reader is Danielle Burke.
Hello, my name is Danielle Burke and I go to Garcia Middle School. I'm 12 years old and in 6th grade. My poem is titled The Watch Poem and I was inspired by the Watch movie at Christopher Knowles exhibit. I feel very honored and excited to have been invited to be a featured reader. Hey buddy, would you like to buy a watch? Hey watch, would you like to buy a buddy? No, no. And anyway, and so, this guy selling watches in the streets, he sees this other guy and he says, hey buddy, would you like to buy a watch for less? No. The answer is always no. And anyway, and so, in the streets of Brooklyn in New York, this guy selling watches in the street sees this other guy. Hey buddy, would you like to buy a watch? Hey watch, would you like to buy a buddy? No, no. The answer is always no. And anyway, and so, this guy who sees this other guy packs up and leaves with the watches in the streets of Brooklyn in New York, the end. Will you buy one? And anyway, the streets of Brooklyn, New York. Come on, buy one. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I have I have a message from the guest judge that he asked me to read for him while he was absent. Response from John Milkwright. Thank you for gifting me with your work for this fascinating exhibit. Even though I do not know your names, you are imaginative writers that have embraced the visual arts, specifically as a call to encounter and respond to Christopher Knowles' in a word, creations. I hope that you will not think of this feature reading as a competition of who gets to read it tonight or not. There could easily have been more readers, but due to time and space limits, Mary could not fit all the writers into the program. I did read every line of writing that you submitted and applied my own judgment as to who effectively responded to the artwork. I applied several questions to your work. For example, who deepened their understanding of the world after seeing the artwork? Who offered surprise or transformation in the writing because they were surprised themselves? Or, in other words, who best found linguistic correlation to translate the visual works we see here on display? The joy of writing in the ekphrastic mode is akin to what Robert Frost called counter-love, original response. I've discovered the process of writing is much more fun than always being concerned with the results. We have Mary to thank for the triggering moments here for this journey begins. Sometimes I need a reminder every once in a while about the business of responding to art like the exhibits and Words and Art series. It's like we're crossing a border that's breached when the writer enters another special realm. Is that okay if we dare to speak about someone else's artwork? Paul Valéry, the French poet, thinker, essayist, had asked this question long ago. But Valéry also said, there are important reasons for not keeping silent, since all the arts live by words. Each work of an art demands its response. Your response to Christopher Knowles' work will become a richer history than that work. So maybe that's why we show up for engaging the traditional work of ekphrasis, the verbal description of pictorial and sculptural works of art. We try to show up for class every day and get good grades, and even try to extra credit, right? Here, whether young or old, we show up for the class that never truly ends. The school is the school we love without textbooks, chairs, or desks. We get to address and often challenge our minds, the experiences we have with our own eyes and ears. You may wish to take your hand out and re-examine the artwork again now that you have several selected responses. You may undoubtedly find pleasurable discoveries of yourself as the exhibit continues until March 25th. So for now, even though I could not attend tonight, I appreciate your writing and participation. Your range and diversity are truly amazing. Thanks, John Milkwright. So that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone at the CAM. Thank you all for being here tonight.